Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to RM Podcast FL. This is your favorite podcaster, Ramina. So, I hope everybody's having a great and an amazing day. And yesterday, we launched a special episode, the story of two shoe salesmen in Africa. I really found that story really interesting when I first heard it, so I hope you guys enjoyed it as well and got the message through. So before we do get started to today's episode, I just want to take a moment and thank everybody that has listened to our episodes so far and has shared them on their social media pages. As always, you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitchers Radio, YouTube, Podbean, on our website, www.rmpodcastfl.com. And now we're also on Google Play, which I'm super duper excited about. So our audience keeps growing, you guys. We have more listeners in Europe, and we have even more and more listeners within the United States, which I find it pretty awesome, and I'm super excited about today's episode as well. Today's episode is actually one of my colleagues. He recently got promoted to the management level for sales, and I'm really happy for him. But we're going to touch base a little bit to his previous life before he got into sales. He shares with us that he was into law enforcement. He was a police officer for years, and it's something that always ran in his family. So that's the career that he went with. But later came to find out that sales was actually a much better fit for him. We do touch base to how his life changed after he moved to the sales career, as well as we do touch base to a couple of advices that we would like to get from each a police officer out there. And actually, one of his advices helped me recently. Unfortunately, yes, I did get pulled over because I didn't use a signal, but I did not get a ticket, and I used the method that he showed us during this podcast. So go ahead and enjoy it, and I hope you guys like it. And as always, do not forget to write a review on the iTunes app. My goal is to hit 100, you guys, so each review would be greatly appreciated. But without losing any time, let's jump right into this episode. And do not forget, we have another bonus episode this Thursday or this Saturday. So this Saturday is my 10-year American anniversary when I very first moved to America. So I got another bonus episode for you guys. This week is full of awesome information. So without losing any time, let's dig right into this interview, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Perfect. Well, like I stated earlier, guys, on the intro, today's episode is going to be with Joe Anderson. Hi, Joe.
Hey, what's going on?
Good. How are you today?
I'm doing well. How was yourself?
Good. Well, definitely I want to thank you for taking a moment and doing this podcast with me. I know you have a pretty busy schedule.
Absolutely. Definitely busy.
Awesome. So we do have some very interesting questions, guys. Then the main topic that I want to touch today is emotion intelligence. And whenever I read Emotion Intelligence 2.0, the book, if you haven't read it, definitely highly recommend it. Joe kind of popped in my head because he's just really good at it. So I want to touch base a little bit. But before we do get started, Joe, if you can please just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, like walk us, young Joe now, give us a little bit background if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, raised in Queens. Played football and baseball my whole life. Graduated from Francis Lewis High School in Queens, New York. And moved down to Jacksonville, Florida when I was 20 years old. Moved down to Jacksonville, Florida. And I became a deputy sheriff at 20.
Okay.
Became a deputy sheriff. And met a lot of good friends that was in the sales industry at the time. And, just talking with them. And they always said, Joe, like, you really have a good way of talking with people.
Yeah.
Even when I was a deputy sheriff, they were like, you could always like handle the situation without even going to like use of force.
Okay.
So they're like, you should get into sales. And it was like a scene from Wolf of Wall Street almost, where my buddy was like, "Oh,
is that your favorite movie?"
Probably so, definitely. But it was like a scene from Wolf of Wall Street. Where I was like, you show me a commission check that you made that much money just by selling something, like I'll quit my job tomorrow.
Yeah.
And he literally showed me a check the last 3 months, and I was just like, all right, cool. Like, I'm getting into this.
Because a lot of people get like a little hesitant when you say like, yeah, sales, you make money.
Exactly.
Like a lot of people think it's like a scam or something.
Exactly. They really do. But at the same time, though, if you think about it, everything is sales.
Yeah.
You know, no matter what it is. Like when I was a cop, you know, it was me selling myself to the person. That person knowing that, hey, you're getting arrested, but how can I diffuse a situation without going hands on?
So how did you get into law enforcement? Is it a family thing or?
Actually, it is.
It is?
Actually, yeah. My grandfather did 25 years NYPD, and my father did 20 years NYPD.
NYPD?
Yep, NYPD. So it was always in the family. The opportunity came. I took it. I did it for 6.5 years.
Yeah.
So, but then I seen it was a bigger and better life where I didn't have to worry about getting shot at, spit at, things like that, and make more money working in sales.
So I want to just kind of focus to law enforcement, because before I would freak out if I would see a cop car, you know, following me. And then one of my neighbors before, he was a law officer, and he explained to me, he's like, Romina, like, literally, like, those are the nicest people. Like, just think of this, which I never thought before. He's like, they might go to a car and anything can happen. So if you're honest from the very upfront, or if they tell you to get out of the car and everything, just do whatever it follows. Like, what advice would you give to those people that kind of freak out for, you know, if they see a police officer, or just even have that conversation? Because it's this authority, like, you just freak out.
Of course. I mean, just seeing lights and sirens behind you, you know, that right there could put you in a situation like, oh my goodness, we are freaking out, right? So my advice to anyone out there, I still do this to this day. I roll, if it's at nighttime, I'll roll all my windows down.
Okay.
I will turn the interior light on. This way, the officer, for his safety,
It's full.
he sees everything that's going on.
That's smart. Because I used to just roll the windows. One time I actually put my camera on, because all this, you know how media is.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I totally agree.
And I'm not trying to bash anybody, but, like, it just got in my head for a moment. That's when I was new in America. I, like, put my camera on to record, and I was like, that was the nicest dude ever.
Exactly. And I think they get I mean, of course, everyone has their views on different things, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying every cop is good or every cop is bad. I'm not saying that. We have some
But that's
good
just
ones.
humans, generally.
Exactly, that's humans, period. Cop, no cop. We have good humans, bad humans, right? So my advice to everyone out there listening, if you get pulled over, roll the windows down, turn your interior light on. This way, you're giving that officer the comfort and the safety, saying, hey, I'm not doing anything, you know? And I guarantee you that officer will be a lot less lenient. He'll be lenient.
Really?
100%.
Well, I haven't got pulled over in a while. Hopefully, I don't.
That's good. Knock on wood.
I'm probably gonna get pulled over later because it's getting dark. So I'm gonna do that. So from police officer to sales, and he was a buddy of yours.
Yeah, it was a buddy of mine. He's actually my son's godfather. He got me into it, and I was just like, "You think I could really sell something?" And he's just like, "Joe, like you sell yourself all the time.
Yeah.
Think about it." And as I thought about it, I was like, he's right. You know, and then I seen the commission checks. I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna do this.
I mean, we sell. Like, I remember I read it on Zig Ziglar's book. It says the best salesperson is the baby, because they cry and you feed them, and they always close the deal.
Yep, always.
So you always sell yourself at an interview, social media posting, trying to get the guy or get the girl. Like, it's always sales, but sometimes people freak out if they put their income based on sales.
Correct.
So did you do any sales training when you first came to sales world? Or was it what was your first sales position?
My first sales position when I was like 14 years old, I worked at Modell's.
What is that?
Modell's is a sport authority, like a sports store.
Okay.
They sell sports memorabilia and fitness equipment,
Okay.
sneakers, things like that.
Is that only in New York?
It's in New York. It's big. It's huge in New York. And it's like a Dick's Sporting Goods down here.
Gotcha.
And I worked there and just really getting in tune with the product and then showing the person how it works and how they can really get a difference on what they're trying to do. That right there was like mind blowing to me, but I never thought about it. It was like, I'm going to be a cop. Like, my grandpa was a cop, my dad was a cop, I got to be a cop.
Family thing.
Exactly. But then, things happen, life changes, and I'm here today.
So how did your life change after you got into sales world?
Oh, it changed drastically.
Really?
Oh, 100%.
What was the biggest change that you're mostly proud of? Or the moment that you're just like, I'm so happy I made this move?
The biggest thing with me is, just for me selling, security systems with ADT, I had made a sale with this guy. He was a lawyer. I'll never forget it. And he called in. He was like, yeah, I'm really not sure if I want to go forward with this. It sounds good. And I literally just asked a couple more questions.
Deeper questioning.
Yeah, just deeper questioning, just more discovery, right? To go to really tie the benefit of why they get this,
Yeah.
right? And literally 2 days later, he had the system installed. The next day, had it installed. 2 days after that, he got broken into.
Stop it.
He literally called back and was like, "Thank you so much for just pushing me
I
to
just
do
got
it."
chills.
Yeah. Like, thank you so much for pushing me to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, you do save lives.
Bingo. 100%. So that was, in 10 years of doing it, that really was one of the times that stuck out to me. And that was like the beginning of my sales career, where that really stuck out because he called back and made it a point to reach out back to me, back to my manager, the CEO at the time, and was like, I was not going to go forward with this. But by him just asking a couple more questions and tying in his security background with law enforcement and then his sales background with it, he's like, he sold me right then and there with everything. And then 2 days later, he get broken into.
That's crazy. That's so emotional intelligence. I want to focus a little bit. Like I did express earlier, you're really good at it. Like, does it come natural to you, or did you, like, through high school, you just learn better how to communicate, how to be the genuine person, and how to not necessarily get it your way, but find the happy.
The happy medium.
Not more of the happy medium, more of like, sales, like negotiating, but very peacefully without the other person realizing it.
Oh. 100%.
Does it make sense?
Absolutely. It's literally
there's no happy medium.
There isn't a happy. Well, it's a happy medium because it's like you don't want to overexert them, right? So that's that you gotta be the medium where they're like, okay, I'm liking this, like, wow. And
but it sounds too fake to be real.
It doesn't sound too fake to be real, but it's also like, yeah, this sounds really good.
Yeah,
I have to get this, right? So it's all about, and I've always had this. It's confidence. You have to have confidence. I don't care if you're gonna be wrong with it. If you have confidence with it, guess what? They're gonna believe you.
Yeah. Have you ever had good confidence in you?
Always. I was always confident.
What do you think helped on your confidence? Because you weren't
sports.
Born with confidence.
Playing sports.
Yeah.
Playing sports, practicing, seeing results, actually getting results. That is definitely huge. Self-awareness.
Yeah.
For instance, without self-awareness, I mean, you really, if you can't take care of yourself and benefit from yourself, you can't help the next person. A lot of people try to help everybody else, but it's like, hold on, you're not even straight with that. So how can you help me with that?
So as a leader, how do you help others to build confidence? Especially, let's say we have a new class that just hit the floor, and it's nerve-wracking when you have multiple systems in front of you. You just got through a lot of materials of training. How do you help them build that confidence?
What's the purpose of you being here? What motivates you to get up and say, I'm going to go to work today?
So you find the why.
Without asking it.
Smart. Finding the why, not everybody goes there.
You have to.
But everybody has a why.
Everybody.
So what's your why?
My why? My family. My 5-year-old son, he's my everything.
A little minion.
Exactly. He's my everything. And also it's just showing him that, hey, you can be great. It's really like leaving my stamp somewhere. And it's not everyone, with everyone, but if I just was able to change one person.
Yeah.
And I left my stamp with that one person, then I feel at ease, I feel at peace, and I can move on.
That's so true. Well, I always say for the podcast, I hope you guys learn at least one new thing. But like we were talking earlier, and I already spilled the secret. Ray made me say it on the podcast about the nonprofit. Yeah. Like just helping one person's life to be like, I'm grateful because that was the most selfless thing that I did. I just feel like you're more accomplished as a human. Because it's not just hitting your goals or getting your things done or having your savings, having your house.
Exactly.
Like being the grave is just going to be you, and you're not going to get everything with you. A lot of people freak out when you talk about it, but that's just the truth.
That's the truth. You didn't come in the world with nothing. You're going to leave with nothing,
That's true. So, what was one moment that you can pick up and kind of break down the situation for us? One moment that you think your emotional intelligence just end up getting you like great results. You did share it like as a police officer, but if there's any moment that you can share with us, and what techniques did you use?
So, This was a real simple technique, and it was really effective with this one agent, where I seen he was down. He was just like out of it. But prior to that, about a week prior to that, me and him had like a one-on-one. And we were just talking, and I literally asked him, "Hey, what motivates you?
Yeah.
You know, like what is your reason why you want to be here?" Type thing. And he was like, "I want to buy a new car."
Yeah.
I was like, "What kind of car you want to buy?" He was like, "I want a Camaro." And I was like, "Oh, you want a Camaro like that with the drop top, the SS, stick shift, 6-speed?" He's just like, "No, I just want a basic Camaro." And I was like, "Well, hey, let's strive to get that SS.
Yeah.
And let's strive to go to get the drop top and the nice flashy rims and everything like that. You deserve it.
Put a
Work
picture
hard."
on his brain.
Bingo. You just said the key thing, a picture, right? So they always tell you paint the picture for the customer, right? So back to live. I literally seen him down and was like, I don't want to go over there and be like, "What's going on? Why you not motivated?" So what I did before I even went to his desk, because I printed out a Camaro, and it had like the drop top coming down, with the doors open. I literally just put it on his desk, and I was like, "That's your motivation, isn't it? Let's go ahead and work towards it." And he was like, "You remembered that?"
That's nice.
And it literally changed him right then and there.
Yeah.
I didn't even have to really say anything. I put the picture on his desk, and I was like, "Come on, let's get it. Let's go towards this."
And I feel like those methods would work a lot better, and they always do, instead of like, if I'm down, and if you're down one day, if I just come out there and be like, "Hey, are you okay? You can talk to me if you want." If in your head you're already crying on the inside and somebody asks you, it's like, press the button and you're just like, blah.
Exactly.
But that's really smart. You just painted the picture, motivated him, and just kind of like a little slap in the face and a little, pat in the back, be like, "Come on, man."
A little pep talk without even talking to him for the most part.
So you're really good at motivating people. But how about if you have to have a critical conversation with them? Let's just say you're my leader, right? And I'm misperforming, like badly, and I'm just being slacking big time. How would you have a conversation with me?
Well, I want to find out why you're slacking.
Okay.
What's going on? What's really going on? Not work related.
So let's just say I'm just not motivated anymore.
You're not motivated. Okay, let's go ahead and find something that motivates you. Whatever it is. You want to buy a house? Oh, you like to travel. Right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So let's go ahead and where haven't you been?
Okay.
I'm asking, where haven't you been?
A lot of places.
A lot of places. All right. So you
Only 23 states on
Only
U.S.
20. So
I gotta do the other parts.
why don't you do a road trip?
Oh, I love road trips.
See, there you go. So it'll be perfect.
In my head right now, I'm just taking a road trip. Mount Rushmore, that's where I want to go next.
There you go.
But that's so true, though.
Let's go ahead and work towards that then. Like how can I help you work towards going on that road trip? To where you don't have to worry about, do I have enough money for gas?
Yeah.
If I get a flat tire, I don't have to worry about it. Hey, you worked hard, you have enough money saved up. You saved up more money than you should have, so now you can really enjoy yourself and you're not worried about anything. And that right there is more relaxing and more like a good vibe, I say. Because the worst thing you got to worry about is if you're you're traveling somewhere and you're like, well, what if this happens? Or what if that happens?
Oh, I know.
I
got a lot of road trips, yeah.
Exactly. So if you don't have that, you're really at peace of mind. You can really take in your road trip.
Yeah.
You can really see what it's about.
That is true.
So
whenever you set your own goals, do you put up a reward in your head? Like, if I motivate or if I have my team make this production, I'm gonna, reward myself with this. Like, how do you motivate yourself?
Well, if I'm motivating myself, my motivation is to go ahead and if I have a 30, 60, 90 day goal, right? I want to have my 30-day goals done in 20 days, 15 days, right? Hey, 10 days if I get it done. If I can do that, that's motivating me to go ahead and now I can focus on my 60-day goals, right? The 90-day goals. And if I'm completing those tasks and not only just completing them, but I'm actually knocking them out the park, I can now focus on something else. And I can tell my story to someone else and say, hey, this is what I have planned out for myself. This is what worked for me. I'm not saying it's the same recipe for you.
Yeah.
But This is how I did it. We have very similarities. Let's go take a stab at it. What's the worst that could be? What's the worst that can happen?
What if you don't hit your goals?
If I don't hit my goals, then I'm going to sit back and think, all right, why did I hit my goals? You know, what could I have done to hit my goals? You know,
So
don't
you
make
leave-
excuses.
You leave emotions out of it, and you base on fact.
You have to. You know, it's a perception of reality.
So if you don't hit your goals, that's what you're telling the audience. If you don't hit your goals, you have to analyze the why. You have to look at the numbers and the facts.
You have to. You know, what could I have done better to hit my goal? Why didn't I hit my goal? Because it's my goal.
Mm-hmm.
No one created it for me. I created it. So obviously I thought I can accomplish that.
Yeah.
So I have no one to blame but myself, right? Because everyone has 24 hours in a day. Now how you use that 24 hours is up to you. You know, if you want to drink for 8 hours out the day, hey, just know that the next day you're going to have a hangover.
Yeah, that's true.
So you got to prepare for it.
So if I meet you 10 years later, let's just say we have this interview, we split paths, I meet you 10 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Paint the picture for me. Where is Joe? What is Joe doing?
10 years later from now.
10 or 15. I'm sure you
10
have a
or
10 or
15.
15 year goal.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. 10 to 15 year Joe Anderson, he will be a director somewhere. I will, if not a motivator, I would definitely be in a motivating role for a company, maybe for my own self. You know, because I feel that I can really I can read people really well. I can relate to people with several different life events that I have encountered. So 10, 15-year Joe, I can definitely see myself in a director's role as a leader, you know, and not just the title leader, actually leading.
So you're with your family, a big event, right? You're getting an award. Tell me, what award are you getting that you really feel accomplished in life?
Well, it's actually funny you asked that question because when I was a deputy sheriff, I received 2 life-saving awards. Right? It's funny that I had a life-saving award here, basically.
Yeah.
I got broken into, and then at the sheriff's office, I got 2 life-saving awards where a guy tried to hang himself, and I was able to cut the. He had a sheet. It was actually in the jail where it happened at, and I cut the sheet, and I was able to save him. And that was an honorable life-saving award because a lot of people think, oh, someone's in jail, they may be an asshole or a dipshit or, you know. But guess what? They're human. That's a human life, right? I don't know the reason why he was in jail.
Yeah.
It's not for me to judge him. My whole thing is, I seen a human life dangling. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save that life. Come to find out, guess what? That guy didn't even get convicted. Innocent.
Oh, wow. So
But
he was just probably in a...
He didn't have enough money for a lawyer.
Oh,
So he felt that, hey, I'm going to die in this place. Like, they're going to prove me wrong. There's no way I can go ahead and get
There's no way I can prove myself.
my innocence.
It's funny to talk about it. I recently saw on Netflix. Have you seen the... Darn it, I forgot the name.
With the 4 boys?
Yeah, the New York
Central
Park
Boys?
Central Park Boys. You Can't See Us, or you look.
No,
it's on Netflix.
How They See Us.
How They See Us.
Yep.
I actually, it was over the weekend. I saw all the episodes,
All episodes,
and
yeah.
I ended up like I started like 11, and it was so good. So I stayed up all night, and it was like 7 in the morning.
It's a really good episode. I was actually in New York during those times.
Were you?
Yep. Those boys actually got locked up in 1987 or 89. So I was 3 years old, and they didn't get out until I was out of high school. Well, the last one. His name's Chris. I think his name was.
Yeah, Chris was one of them.
Yep.
I forgot the names of them, but he ended up being the guy that actually did it. Came up front because he's one of the guys.
Yeah.
Was in prison with him, and he just felt bad. He's like, I'm gonna save him. Yeah, they got into a fight. Yeah, but by like the volume of the TV.
Yep.
I saw that and I was like, this is
all true. It was all true too.
But like emotionally, like it just the episodes that you have to pass.
And that brings me to a good point though, because like I said, my dad, my grandfather was NYPD. So when that was going on, of course you've seen the episode. I don't want to ruin it for everybody else out there, but
I mean, now they got like their own. They're actually doing
foundations and everything.
To help on cases
Correct.
they're saying they're innocent, and to like actually hire attorneys and everything, which I think is really nice.
It is. It's great.
Sometimes you just it's
in
unfair.
In the show, they seen how the cops were basically persuading them, right, to go ahead and tell them themselves and things like that. And that's one of the things my dad always installed in me, right? If you ever got in trouble, another fun fact, guys, if you ever get in trouble with the law, it's like you give them two things. Give them your name, your date of birth, and let them know your dad's a cop. That's the only thing you tell them.
So what if my dad, let's say me?
So your dad.
My dad is not a cop.
Yeah, so you just give them, if
my
they're
dad's...
saying, hey, we want to bring you down to the courthouse for some questioning, right? First off, if you're not being detained, you don't have to go.
Okay.
All right, you can refuse to go there. But if you're being detained and they're asking you questioning, you literally say, hey, my name is Romina. I can't pronounce your last name. So.
Okay.
I'm never going to try. My name is Romina. Whatever it is.
Mohammed, it's okay. Whoever gets it wins. Literally, whoever sends something and says my last name right, besides all the Albanian listeners out there, I will send you a gift card. But the Albanian listeners, don't try. So I'll say my name is Romina.
Name,
yeah.
Your date of birth. Yeah, right. Your name, your date of birth, and then you let them know, I want to talk to my lawyer. I want a lawyer.
And the state will provide you a lawyer if you can.
If you can't afford one, correct. And I don't care what they say. Oh, don't worry about it. We know you didn't do it. I said, no, nope. This is my name. This is my date of birth. I want a lawyer. Period.
Not everybody is aware of that.
That's fun fact, guys. I'm not gonna charge you guys for it. Don't worry.
But straight up, this is my name. I'll identify myself. I need a lawyer.
That's it.
No matter how long they hold you, they question you.
That's it.
You do not talk to anybody but a lawyer.
If you want to talk to them, just know that they can go ahead and finagle it any way they want. I'm not saying all cops do it, but if they wanted to, it happens, exactly.
You might be mad and say something, and they're going to use it against you.
Bingo. And now they're tying in something else to the case that has nothing to do with the case at all, but that you told them something, now they're going to look into that, and now like, oh, well, how about this? You get yourself into something that you shouldn't have been into because you just gave them a little piece of information too much. Where a lawyer, they can go ahead and they can dissolve that real quick.
So before I jump to the other question, because I do want to focus a little bit more on sales, but law enforcement.
This is life sales right here.
Yeah, well, law enforcement, because as a female, I'm like 5'3", and I used to have, I'll just say it, I used to have a stalker in Illinois. And I was terrified, so take pepper spray with me, all this, never drive in the dark. Like, what did you say to females or males out there? They're literally sometimes scared to even go for a run because they don't know what might be out there. Like, how can somebody defend themselves and be ready for it? With the basics steps. You can always take bigger measurements. I mean, we live in Florida.
I was going to say, if you live in a state where you can have your gun license, you need to get your gun license, period. But yeah, you can definitely get pepper spray. I would definitely take a self-defense class, and those self-defense classes, they don't teach you everything to be, a UFC champion.
Yeah.
But it'll teach you the basics to where you can get out of a situation. One thing I would tell any female, if they tell you to get in a car or they say, oh, just come with me to this place, scream, yell, and do not go with them because they're going to kill you anyway. So if they say, if you move, I'll kill you right here, no one's going to kill you in an open area. They want to take you somewhere else where they could kill you. And if they take you to that place, they're going to kill you. So I'd rather die in the public eye, rather than 100 miles offshore somewhere and no one's going to find my body. Make sense?
So for my female listeners out there, guys, share your location with at least 3 people. New technology, share the location with at least 3 people.
Download the AT Go app.
Yeah, the AT Go app. I've actually used it. I used it once because I was in school and I was so into studying that I forgot it was 10:30, and I literally walked into the parking lot and it's only my car and 2 other cars, and I freaked out. And I had an exam. I was so focused into studying. Wow. And I freaked out, and I'm scared of dark. So I just pressed the SOS. They called me. I was like, stay on the phone with me right now. So I was like, I'm good. How are you? yes, babe. Like, I was just pretending like it was somebody else.
Yeah.
And I got in my car. I was like, stay on the phone. I was like, and like the lady caught it right away on the other end. I was like, I want to make sure I'm not being followed or anything. But like my heart was going crazy.
Wow.
So I was like, no more studying on campus, Ramina. Because when I get into studying, I'm up till late.
Television, yeah. Wow.
But 82 go. Yep, that will do it. All right, so enough with being scared and law enforcement. Tell me what fuels you, day-to-day basis. I mean, you work, 60, 70 hours a week?
Yeah, right? So what fuels me is just literally getting the people that was the outliers that weren't doing so well and bringing them up and really making a difference for them. That really fuels me now. Before it was me just making as much money as possible, right? But now it's like I have so much knowledge, it was getting boring.
When did you have that flip, that switch?
It literally happened when I was just helping people out, just doing my regular shift, and then just helping people, occasionally just helping people. And then one day I was given this one agent rebuttals that I would use, and she had a situation and she literally just read it verbatim from the paper. And the customer was just like, okay, pick up my credit card. And I turned around like, that actually worked. Like, that actually worked. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, I knew it was going to work, of course. That's why I gave it to you. But in my head, I'm like, hold on.
What the heck just happened?
Exactly. And from then, I was just like, all right, Joe, you got something. You know, I haven't been scratched the surface yet. You know, like I really want to get more into like reading more books, going to some motivational classes and things like that, just to go ahead and really learn how you can not just manipulate someone, but have someone do something without you even telling them what to do.
Yeah, negotiating. Well, it would be manipulating, but I want to kind of clarify it.
Correct. Because if you get manipulated, you think like, oh my God.
Yeah, it can be really bad. But, I mean, if you go to like for example, I'm going to Tony Robbins in like 2 weeks. He's manipulating you. He's putting good things in your head and he's manipulating you to think good. So manipulation, a lot of people think it's negative, but it's
not.
It depends on how you use that power.
Exactly. And I've literally just been on a positive kick, just positive vibes. And any situation you can turn into, you can get at least one positive from it. And if I was able to get one positive from it, I said, all right, I'm not worried about it anymore. You know, no matter what it is.
Do you read books to learn more about like leadership and everything, or do you listen to podcasts?
Honestly, I haven't really got back into like reading books like that. I was never a big fan of reading books. I know that sounds crazy, but that's just me.
Well, I thought people that read books are nerds, and now I'm one of them.
So I'm more of a one-on-one. Like I want to go ahead and I want to see your energy. Now, reading a book is cool, and you may be able to get the energy from reading that book. But if I was able to actually just sit down and have a conversation with the person and really see them in action, I think I learn more from that way.
So you're a visual learner.
Visual, hands-on. Like I love to be in the mix with everything. You know, throw me in a war room.
Yeah. Well, that's true, because if you have hands-on, you can actually learn more. It's bouncing ideas and everything. So you cannot just sit at the desk and do papers. That's not you, huh?
I'm not an admin leader. No, I am a war room leader. You know, like I want to be in a war room. I want to say, hey, we're shooting that way, and I'm shooting with the guys. You know, and we're attacking the problem, and we're really gonna figure out, hey, what's the best way to attack this situation? You know, so that's how I like to motivate my people. And
so when you see a problem, do you typically just kind of step back and think about it, or how do you approach a problem?
Depends on the situation. Because just from previous law enforcement and training, and I still train to this day, you know, you always want to attack the situation, right? You never want to really retreat. But there are situations where it's like, let me step back and really regroup and get some more information, do a little more recon, and then attack the situation and go for the kill.
Okay.
You see? So for a situation, for instance, if you have a customer where they're really on the fence of going forward with the sale, you know, you got to think to yourself, all right, what did I miss? What didn't I bring to the table to present to her to really tie it into her life on why she needs this? How is it going to benefit her? Is it really the price? or is it because I haven't shown her how it's going to benefit her in her life? Which one is it?
So, if you have X product and the customer wants Y product, do you see that the product cannot feed her? And sometimes would you say like, hey, this is what our product does, but I don't think it's right for your situation? Or do you always try to find ways to fit it to her situation?
Depends what they want it for. Depends the product. You know, if I feel the product can help her, you know, it can benefit her lifestyle. Oh, absolutely. The person will purchase the product, right? But if there's no need, there's not a benefit. You call that the buyer's remorse.
Yeah.
That's what you get with that. So yeah, the customer may have purchased it, but then they're right back in line returning it. So did you really sell it?
No.
No.
Might felt good for a moment, but
Exactly.
that wasn't really sell.
That wasn't really sell.
So we met Joe in the future, but I met Joe at 18 years old.
18?
Yeah.
Whew.
What should I have told you at 18 years old? What advice should I have given to you so you can be where you are now earlier? So some mistakes that you might have made, you wouldn't have made, or I mean, we all learn from our mistakes.
Of course.
So you wouldn't be the Joe that you are now if you didn't go through that experience. But what advice or...
Well, I would have definitely said I had to be more consistent at 18. I wasn't consistent. I was consistent enough more than the average 18-year-old, but I wasn't consistent enough to where I could have been more successful, right? I mean, I was a deputy sheriff for 20 years, so that's 2 years later, I was a deputy sheriff. So obviously I was...
That's really young, yeah.
Yeah, so obviously I was some kind of consistent. I wasn't a douchebag, you know? But, well, I wouldn't say all that. But anyway, I would definitely say I wish I had more self-awareness, even though I was confident as all get out, but also just being more consistent in growing myself, rather than being the big fish in a little pond.
Okay.
I wanted to be that's what I wanted to be at 18, the big fish in the small pond, rather than saying, hey, let me go out and see what's really out there.
Let me explore.
Let me explore, you know? Travel a lot more. I traveled, but not as much as I should have at a young age. You know, I got into a career at 20 years old.
That's really young.
So,
You married a career at 20 when you didn't even know yourself.
Didn't even know myself.
That's a marriage. That's really young.
Exactly.
Don't marry young, guys. Trust me.
No,
All right. So 2 more questions. I just came up with this one. We all know the last question is, what is your definition of success? I'm always intrigued with that one. But my other question is, you're not scared of talking about death.
Mm-mm.
Great. If you die whenever you die, whenever your date comes, what are 2 things that you wish you left behind? And when people think of Joe, they're like, oh yeah, there's 2 things he taught me, or there's 2 things that he was great at. 2 or 3 things. We can make it 3 things.
3 things.
3 things. Like 3 things that you, when somebody thinks of you, and it says, this is what Joe changed my life because he told me these 3 things, or 3 things that you left behind you.
So, like I said earlier, I want to leave
deep
that.
breath there.
Yeah, absolutely. I really want to leave that brand, that Joe Anderson III brand, right? But what is that brand? What is it? That's a good question. You know, is it, oh, Joe was a good guy. He was always positive. He always found a positive situation out of a negative. Okay, that's cool, right? Or is it the respect? You know, like, wow, like he was really a respectable guy. But how long does that last? Does it just carry on for just a month? Or will people really think about it? 6 months later, a year later, 2 years later. And not just on the day I died, no, a legacy.
Yeah.
You know? So how do you create that? That's the magic question. How do you create that legacy? How can you create your name continue going? Not by having more kids. It's not doing that, no. But it's really just...
That's a way, but not the right way.
That's not the right way. You know, it could be if you're George Foreman, right? But no, I really feel that if you can leave your mark on one person, and that person can go ahead and make a mark on someone, and then they say, you know who taught me that? Joe Anderson, right? So now it's going to be like a domino effect to where I taught one, and that one person teaches 2, 2 teaches 4, 4 teaches 8, 8. That's the effect I want to have. I want to have that domino effect to where it's like, hey, I heard this from an old friend, and he learned that from this guy named Joe Anderson, the third.
The third.
And that's what I would want to do. I don't know how it can happen. You know, you gotta let things play out. I mean, some people say, "Oh, I have a plan to do this, do that, do this." I don't really want to set up a plan for that.
When you make plans, God laughs.
100%. I like that.
Yeah.
Because that man has everything planned out already.
Sometimes you're mad at him. I was mad at him for a while, and I was like, you know what? I see what you did there, man.
Yep. He was trying.
Years later, I was like, I see what you did there, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Exactly.
I was mad.
Exactly.
But thank you.
Because they say when one door closes, the 5 more open up. You know?
Yeah.
And sometimes he just tests you to see how you're going to handle the situation. Right? And depending on how you handle the situation, he blesses you with a way bigger reward. You know, everybody want to hit the lotto.
Yeah.
But guess what? If you hit the lotto, what are you going to do with that money? You may die the next day.
So we're talking about lotto. I started this new audiobook. It's called Doing the Impossible by Patrick Davis. He was talking about the lotto. He's like, I love how people want to take the shortcut and you just Google and there's these books online. You can work 8 hours a day and achieve this. It's like, but let me tell you this, especially to those people that buy the lotto. He's like, statistically, people that have won on the lotto, they're in worse situations. And there's this one guy in North Carolina that he won the biggest lotto out there, but he took the tax of that, so he ended up having like $90 billion, like the biggest in the history of America. It was the multi-state lotto.
Oh, okay.
He's like, the guy ended up being robbed multiple times. A lot of his family members end up passing away because of overdose. He has been sued by multiple people. Like, it just... You want to take that shortcut, and you just don't know because your mentality, you don't.
Exactly.
Like, your mentality, it's at $10 an hour. It's not at your personality. You don't think you're worth 200
million. Yeah.
200 an hour. Like, so that jump, it just.
And that's funny because that brings me to a point where like a lot of people say, "Oh, money won't change me. Money won't change me." Bullshit. Money changes you. I don't care how you look at it. Money changes you because you're in a different tax bracket.
Yeah.
You gotta act differently. There's different things you're gonna be able to do now that you wasn't able to do, 10 days ago. You can now do those things, but it's gonna be good. And it's gonna be good for your family.
So do you think money is very important? Or do you think it's a great tool to get better status?
Well, 100%. If you have money, you can definitely build your brand a lot quicker, right? You can definitely elevate your status a lot quicker. Do I feel that money is a necessity in order to make it? No.
But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not going to be a hypocrite and say, oh, money is not important. Like, we work
for money.
For money. We work hard for money.
For money, exactly.
Like, we choose a career that is
for money, right?
Stressful sometimes for money.
For money, exactly. So I would say that money makes a lot of things a lot easier when you have that cushion for that road trip, right?
Yeah.
It makes it a lot easier to where it's like, all right, I could make it to Georgia, but then I may not be able to make it to North Carolina because I ain't gonna have enough money for gas.
Yeah.
But I can do this, and hopefully make some money. But if you have it already, you can just carefree and just go, right? So it's the same thing with anything else in life. Money is the rule of all evil when you're using it for evil things.
That's a good one.
But if now you're just looking, what's evil things?
Yeah.
Because they can be evil, right? But if you're doing it for a good cause, if you're taking that money and you're really, nonprofit organization. Yeah. You're gonna take it and help someone that's really down and out. You're gonna help that person now? Because you was that person, but you had a little bit of money.
Yeah.
But now you really have money. Are you gonna go back and help that person? Go back to the community and really try to help the community with anything?
So, before I jump to the last question, my dad told me this when I was young. He's like, make a fist like this.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, nothing comes out, nothing, like, and everybody can do this. Like, just make a fist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no air comes out or in. But if you open just a tiny bit, there's air. Same idea with money. If you open a little bit, you might drop some from the bottom, but a lot might come in.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a circle. Or you might lose a lot, but still you're getting in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about looking out for others, not just being very tight to your heart, to your spirit, and being selfish. And my dad always told me, like, not to be selfish.
Cool.
And that kind of stamped in my brain. That's why I'm very passionate about helping others or trying to do things for others. Like, I'm not selfish. But that's a theory that my dad told us, like, just open your heart a little bit, but just think that's your fist, because that's your heart. Like, that's the size of your heart.
Fist,
yeah. So open the fist a little bit, let the air flow. Like the good, even if the bad comes in, it will go out if you open it. But if the good comes in, it might be stuck there, and the bad will come out. So it's just like a flow.
Yeah.
And I remember even with money, I'm always like,
you can have it one day and be gone the next day. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like living your best life. It's like you want to go ahead and do what you want to do at that time, and that's one of the things I'm doing now. Is if I can't control it, why let it bother me?
Yeah.
You only worry about what you can control.
Well, that's another topic, uncontrollables and controllables. A lot of people let uncontrollables get to them really bad.
I guess I'll see you next podcast.
Last question, and then we'll close it.
Let's do it.
What is your definition of success?
Definition of success. Just have my own podcast with Romina is my definition of success. Nah, I'm just playing. But it all depends on how you see success. You know, some people may feel that just waking up every day is successful, being successful, and able to just see their family is successful. It all depends on how you see it. But my definition of success, it's a peace of mind.
That's a good one.
Peace of mind.
I haven't got that answer yet. Peace
Joe
of
Anderson
mind.
the third.
Joe Anderson the third. Oh my goodness. All right. Well, we covered a lot. I really enjoyed this podcast. We've touched a lot of bases too.
Yeah,
Is there anything else that you'd like to add to the listeners besides definitely look into Sal's career?
Yeah, right. For real. No, I mean, thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it. And I look forward to talking to you again.
Yeah, and having the event.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Well, I definitely want to thank you for your time, Joe.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. No problem.